Hiram Lodge always has an ulterior motive. So what can we see of what he's going to bring to the table for season 3?
Yeah, I think in season 2 we kind of saw Hiram, sort of be the villain, but kind of hiding it from a few people and sort of working behind the scenes as a manipulator. The nice thing about season 3 is now he is the villain, he's the kingpin. Everyone knows it. He's kind of untouchable. And we're seeing that him acquiring the South Side, which is what he did during season 2, kind of was just the beginning. He's still obsessed with destroying Archie. He's still obsessed with keeping Veronica from Archie. And Mark's really having a good time just getting to play a full-on villain. So yeah, more of the same, but even crazier.
Awesome. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So what is going on with Archie?
Archie is on trial for the murder. He's framed for the murder of the Shadow Lake boy who he did not kill. And we're using kind of that trial as sort of putting the character of Archie on trial, because whether or not he murdered that kid, which he didn't do, he did do a lot of bad things. He turned against his father. He kind of became Hiram's lackey. He turned against his friends, and we're sort of using this story, him being on trial, to kind of examine the character of Archie Andrews. Am I a good man? Am I a bad man? And he's going to be trying to make up or pay for his crimes.
Right. We know that he got the serpent tattoo right now, right? What's the direction after this? Is he going to be like?
You'll see in the first episode you find out why he got the serpent tattoo, but it's not necessarily because he's going to be a full-fledged member of the Serpents.
Right.
So this is a show that when I tell my friends about it, I always get very confused looks, like, how is this happening? And it seems like that's going even further in season 3. I mean, we're introducing the Gargoyle King, which is like an insane, culty. Is there anything for season 3 that you actually looked at, on paper and were like, we have to walk this back? Like, this is too crazy.
No, you know what? It's funny. In season, the experience that we have is, when we were a first-year show, before we became like a crime show, I feel like when I look back on season 1, it really feels like it was episode 12, where it really became like a crime show. Like they were trying to prove FP hadn't shot Jason, and it was just a crime. It was a crime show. We would pitch crazy things, like, oh, and so gets kidnapped, and they were like, you can't do that. And they're like you can't do that. No one really wanted us to introduce the Serpents. What is this, like a gang show now? Like it's a show about gangs. So I think the thing we experienced the most in season 3 is, gosh, remember when they didn't want us to do a kidnapping, and now when we try to do an episode that doesn't have a kidnapping, they're like, nothing's happening. No, it's funny, you discover the DNA of the show, but no, we've been wanting to tell a story about the farm since season 1, so it feels like we're finally getting to that. The Gargoyle King is a little bit like the Slender Man. So there are definitely touchstones and stuff, so we are kind of grounding these crazy things in at least things that have real life analogs.
So how supernatural, sorry to follow up, how supernatural is the Gargoyle King? Is it a person? Is it a monster? Is it...
That's the big question. Okay. That's the big question.
All right.
Without revealing any spoilers, what the fans can or cannot expect for this third season?
For this third season? I think it's going to be a little bit of a return to season 1 in that we're not doing like a serial killer. It's much more of a mystery that they're following. We're doing a little more relationship stuff. That's always nice. We're going to play the kids as high school kids, which we don't always do. But right now we're working on an episode that has them all taking the SATs. So You know, I think every year we learn some stuff that's like, oh, that worked really well, or oh, that worked a little less well. So we always try to learn and kind of adapt. So it's and keep moving the show forward. You know what I mean? It's and try not to repeat ourselves.
What didn't work well last season?
What didn't work?
Yeah.
I think that we kept Jughead and Betty apart for most of the season, and this season we're keeping them together. You know, like Betty was working on the Black Hood alone, and Jughead was with the Serpents alone, basically, and then they broke up for a few episodes.
Mm-hmm.
So this season it's a little bit more they're working together as they did in season 1. That's an example.
Can you tease?
Last question, guys. Sorry.
Can you tease anything about Cheryl and Tony and that relationship?
Yes, yeah, sure. They're in the Serpents together. We're treating them as sort of the royalty of Riverdale High, and you know, I was just talking to Madeline, and we've got some really fun stuff ahead for them.
Great.
Yeah.
Just a follow-up question based on that was, sorry, did you guys plan from the beginning that she was going to be bisexual or gay? Or from season 1?
You know, I can't remember. Madeline and I talked about it in season. I think it was season 1. We had an early conversation about it. But I think our first decision was like, she's such a great character. Let's just have her before she gets in a relationship. And then I can't remember if it was the end of season 1 or start of season 2. But it was early on we had a conversation about that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.